Hello, everybody, and welcome to the wonderful world of rounding. Okay, so rounding basically, the most important rule you have to remember is the value of the next digit. Okay, so if the next digit is 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4, then the digit before remains the same. Okay? Remains the same. If the next digit has a value of 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, then the digit before it goes up by 1. Okay? So keep those rules in mind and let's look at this. So the instructions here, now boys and girls, always, 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 the most important thing to do before an assessment or before you do any worksheet is to read instructions carefully. So it says round the numbers to the nearest 10. Okay? This is why I told you that knowing your place value is very important because everything else later in numbers relies on it. Okay, so the nearest 10 place in this example is what? 40. In 47 is 4. 4 is in the tens place. Okay, the next digit after 4 is 7. Now look at our rules. 7 is right here, so that means the digit before 7 goes up by 1. And that is why, boys and girls, 4 becomes 5. And everything else after the place value that you rounded to becomes 0. So 7 disappears, becomes 0. Okay? Now, let's look at the other example. 273. Okay, and it says round to the nearest 10. The value of in the tens place is 7. The next digit is 3. So let's look at our rules here. 3, 3. So that means 7 remains the same. Okay? Remains the same. And so that's why we have 7 here. Anything after 7 becomes a 0, and everything before 7 remains the same. Okay? So let's just do one example because this is the easiest one. Okay? So let's look at 17. Round to the tens place. So the digit in the tens place is 1. What is next? 7. So what rule do we use? Since 7 is here, that means the digit before it goes up by 1. So 1 becomes 2, and everything after it becomes a 0. So that's why the answer here is 20. Now let's go to the next page. Decimals. It's still the same rule. Okay, let me copy the rules here so that you remember. Okay. This is why I love good notes. Okay, so copy, and let's go to the next page. Paste. So there you go. Here are our rules. I'll just make them a little bit smaller so you will remember them. Okay, let's erase this arrow because we don't need it. Okay, so let's look at this one. It says round to 2 decimal places. Okay, 2 decimal places means 2 place values after the decimal point. So if we look here, the decimal point is here. 2 decimal places would be 1, 2 to that place. Okay? Again, look at the next digit, which is 3. So we go over here, 3. Okay? 3, that means 8 remains the same. Okay? Because 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 is less than 5. So that means 7 remains, 8, sorry. 8 remains the same. Okay, 8 remains the same. Everything after 8, like 3, becomes a 0, disappears. And everything before the 8, 7 and 5, remains the same. Okay? So, let's try this one. 2 decimal places. So let's count 2 decimal places. 1, 2. So we need to round to this digit. What is after it? It's 6. So which rule are we going to use? Of course, we're going to use this one because 6 is here. 6 is more than 5. So that means this digit will go up by 1. So plus 1, it becomes 2. Okay? So this goes over here, 2. Everything after it becomes 0. So it doesn't matter, no value. But everything before it becomes, remains the same. Okay? So let's go to the next example. Again, let me just put in our rules. Okay, so that you remember. Okay? So now round to how many decimal places this time? 3 dp. So let's count. 1, 2, 3. That's the third decimal place. Okay. That's third decimal place. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Look at the next digit after the third decimal place. 6. So which one are we using? 6. So that means the digit before, which is this one, goes up by 1. So the 3 becomes a 4. Everything after 3 disappears. Everything before 3 remains the same. Okay? So this, see, becomes 4. Remains the same, remains the same, remains the same. So let's try this one. Round to the third decimal place. 1, 2, this is the third decimal place. The next digit is a 3. Okay, so which one are we going to use? This one. Okay, so that means the digit before 3 remains the same. So 8 remains the same. Let's put 8 over here. Everything after 8 disappears. Everything before 8 remains the same. Okay? And this one, round to 2 decimal places. Okay, again, I'm going to put our cheat sheet here. 2 decimal places. Okay, now remember, you don't count from here. No, 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 no. You do not count from there. You count from the decimal point. Okay, so 2 decimal places. 1, 2. We are rounding to this number. So what's the next digit? 2. So what happens? Let's look over here. The next digit is 2. So that means the digit before, which is 7, remains the same. Okay? 7 remains the same. Everything after 7 disappears. Everything before 7 remains the same. So 61.37 hundredths. Okay? And this one. Now, there are several students who approached me, got a little bit confused with this one. So let's go over this. Let's put our cheat sheet over here. Let me just erase the tail of that arrow. Okay, now it says round to the nearest whole number, 1 decimal point, 2 decimal point, and 3 decimal points. Okay, so it's a bit tricky because you needed to round to the whole 1 dp, 2 dp, and 3 dp. So let's do this. Let me just erase this. So let's look at this number. Okay, so whole number. Whole number is the ones place or the unit. So that would be this one. Okay, it's a 0. But look at the next digit. It's 7. Okay, so 7 is greater than 5. See? 7 is, greater than 5. It's between 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that means the digit in the whole numbers place goes up by 1. So this goes plus 1. Okay? So, and everything after it disappears. So the whole number for this point 7/10 would be 1. Okay, now let's do the next one. 0.7 to 1 dp. 1 dp, there's a decimal point and this is 1 dp. Round it to the first decimal place. Now there's nothing after it. So let's just put a 0 because 0 has no value. It will not change the value of 7/10. So let's look over here. What are we using? The next digit is 0. There's 0. So what do? This now remains the same. So this rounded to the first decimal place is 0.7. Same. Now 2 decimal places. It's not possible anymore because this has only 1 decimal place. But if you really need to put an answer, I would just do this. That's 1 decimal place, 2 decimal places. 1 decimal place, 3 decimal places. It's all zeros. There's no value because this number only has 1 dp, 1 decimal place. Okay? So let's try this number. Okay. Whole number. So let's look at this. 4.8168. And what digit is in the whole number? Okay, which one is it? Let me just change the color. It's 4. Okay, the next digit to 4 is 8. So which one are we using? This one. So that means the 4 goes up by 1. So now this becomes 5. Okay, this becomes 5 and everything else disappears. Okay, so the first answer here is 5. Okay, so let me copy the number again. 8168. Now this time it says round to 1 dp. 1 dp, decimal point, the 1 place value after the decimal point. That's 8. So let's look at the next digit. 1. So which one are you using? This one, because 1 is there. So what does that mean? Remains the same. That means 8 remains the same. Okay. Everything after it disappears. And everything before it, just copy it down. So this rounded to 1 dp is 4.8. Okay. So let's do the third one. It says now round this to 2 dp. So that's the decimal point, 1 dp, 2 dp. Okay, so let's look at the next digit, 6. Which one are we going to use? There's 6. So what happens to the digit before 6? It goes up by 1. So this now becomes 2. This disappears. And everything before that just copy down. So this number rounded to 2 dp is 4.82. Okay, and let's do the last one from 8168. And it says round to 3 dp. Decimal point 1, 2. That's the third place value after the decimal point. The next digit is 8. And which one are we using? This one, 8. Goes up by 1. So that means 6 now becomes 7. This disappears and everything before it is just copied down. So the answer here is 4.817. Okay? Now some of you, the way you do it, whole number, you just say 0. 1 dp 0, 2 dp 9, 3 dp 5. That is wrong. I am not asking you, or this is not telling you to look for the digit in the place value. It's telling you to round the digit to the nearest whole number. So this is the right way of doing this. I tell you kids, the best thing to do when you have an assessment is to read the instructions carefully. Okay? So I leave you to do the other two by yourself. The answer key is already there. Okay, so hope this helps you, and bye bye.